Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading from Twilight Spy by K.M. Wray, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1 Bree. The cool flow of my healing magic pulsed through my fingertips that rested on my young patient's broken wrist. Through the magic, I could sense the broken fragments pulling back together and solidifying, which oddly reminded me of watching a movie on rewind. Danny Lynn, my 12-year-old patient, hissed through the pain as her broken radius slipped into place. The magic helped with her discomfort, and I could sense a faint flow of the child's magic, barely a trickle, like most of the people in our tribe, but present. The bruised and swollen tissue surrounding the broken bones leaked a slow deflation until my magic sensed no further injury. The strong scent of peppermint that accompanied the healing magic filled the examination room, but the tear tracks on Dana Lynn's cheeks were mere echoes of the trauma she'd been feeling moments earlier. All better? I asked gently, rubbing my hand over her wrist joint. The gentle high and after effect of my healing easily brought a smile to my lips. Dana Lynn's face split into pure delight, and she flexed her fingers. Thanks, Dr. Bree. You're welcome. I glanced at May, Danny Lynn's mom, and winked. And mind your footing when kicking that soccer ball. Danny Lynn sagged back in her chair. Ugh, I know. Thanks, Dr. Bree, May said, handing Danny Lynn her backpack. Put this on. All right. I wish I had magic like yours, Dr. Bree. Then I could heal myself. Danny Lynn pulled her long blonde hair back away from her face. Small white unicorns studded her earlobes. Suddenly, a spike of white-hot magic tore through me, and my body slumped with the sudden onslaught of power. If I had been standing, my legs would have crumpled under me. Thankful I was sitting, I managed to hide my reaction to the unicorn's image. It'd been a while, but the last time I'd responded like this had been when I was a teen. It was a strange reaction even then. Back then, whenever I saw a unicorn, a surge of white-hot magical power followed. It was so unlike my healing magic. Peter, an elder in the tribe and my mentor in magic, had his theories about the white-hot magic being tied to the original shifter. Nothing but myth, legends, and fairy tales, in my opinion. And Peter didn't push his ideas. I inhaled slowly, feeling normalcy return. I thought I'd grown out of these surges of magic. Dr. Bree, May's voice pulled me from my thoughts. Are you okay? I smiled, hoping to hide how unsettled I felt. Sorry, my mind was elsewhere. I just asked if there was anything else, any aftercare Danny Lynn might need. No, the healing's complete. She'll be fine. I turned to my young patient. Just be careful when playing sports, and next time you fall, don't try to stop yourself with your hands. Roll into it. Thanks, that's helpful. May stood up and straightened her blouse. They exited the exam room, and I finished filling out the chart, a simple and very common wrist fracture. The goodness that had accompanied the flow of healing magic had passed, and Danny Lynn was my last patient. I glanced at my phone to check my messages and saw a missed call from Grandma, my dad's mom, who lived near Revelstoke in British Columbia. Hurriedly, I called her back. Hello, Grandma said after 2 rings. Hi, Grandma. I saw you called. Everything all right? Everything's fine, dear, but I won't be able to come for the Labor Day weekend. My heart sank. I closed Danny Lynn's file and grabbed a pen to doodle on a scrap of paper. Oh, I'll miss you. I know. I try to come out and see you a few times a year, but this body just can't handle the drive this year. I slouched back in my chair. That's so unfair. Maybe I should come to you. The silence that followed stilled the air around me. I'd suggested the impossible, but Grandma was the only sane relative I knew. I'd been banned to life on the settlement, or the small town of Niverville, of my tribe. Grandma could visit whenever she wanted to, but I could never go beyond the Manitoba border. Even attending a local university for my medical degree had been a challenge with the elders. They wouldn't let me leave, not since the last time. I wish that were possible, Bree, but you know you can't. And why not? Mom and Dad died 23 years ago. Surely whoever killed them has moved on by now. But the tribe won't let you come, and you best mind them. Grandma, I'm 27. Surely I can decide what's best for me and my family. You need me. You have to let me come and heal you. I can't. My throat tightened. I can't let you stay by yourself. Maybe I can come get you and bring you to the settlement. They'd let you stay. Bree, there was a warning in her voice. We had been through this numerous times before. Peter had offered Grandma the option of remaining on the settlement when she took me there after my parents' accident, but she believed her place was at home. She had inherited her house from her parents, and she'd been there her whole life. You should be with family, I tried. Promise me you won't come, Bree. Besides, I have those who look out for me. I'm all right. I couldn't answer her. I couldn't say no. Something deep inside of me rose in defiance. The hot white magic pulsed through my veins. I was tired of hiding in the settlement and remaining safe, as the elders claimed. They feared imaginary creatures from the fairy tales hunted us, but it was foolishness, nothing more. I'd stayed out of respect, but I was done with it. Grandma needed me, and I needed her. Her visit last summer couldn't be the last time I'd see her. There was still so much to say to one another, so much I needed to know. Things about my mom and dad. I'd never asked her about their deaths and the accident. It wasn't something I wanted to talk about. My aversion to the topic had more to do with the tribe. They always insisted that my strong magic had something to do with the accident, and that when I was a child, they pushed me to do more than explore the healing magic. We were healers, that was it. Anything beyond was just part of the myth and legends. I tapped my pen against the desk. If Grandma's health really was declining, maybe it was time for me to find out the truth and ask the questions I'd been running from my whole life. I sighed, stilling the tears that rested on my eyelids. Promise me you won't come. Grandma's voice held a slight tremor and a question. I have to go, Grandma. The clinic's closing soon. I'll call you later. Love you. Love you too, Bree. I hung up and sighed, letting the tears come. I couldn't lose her. She was all I had of my dad. I wiped my tears away and grabbed my purse. I'd go see Peter. Maybe he could speak to the other elders on my behalf. That is, if I could get him to support my need to visit Grandma. I handed Danny Lynn's file to the nurse before stepping into the warm August weather. It was a perfect day, not uncomfortably hot or humid, not freezing cold, and warm enough to not need a jacket. The sidewalk between the clinic and community center was mostly empty. Many of the small town's residents were still enjoying their summer holidays. The door to the community center slid open, and I ventured further in towards the training room. Peter should be finishing up with the session. He, along with any of the other elders and older people in the tribe with strong magic, worked here with our tribe's children, helping them sense their magic. The doors to the training room were open. I slipped in and found an empty place on one of the benches that lined the walls of the room. A few parents sat waiting there for their kids to finish up. The children were arranged in small circles of about 5 or 6 with one mentor. There were 8 groups that I could see of varying ages. I spotted Peter's group near the far corner. He hovered next to a young teenager, Liam, if I remembered correctly. He was 14, according to his patient chart. There was one benefit to being the tribe's physician. I couldn't hear what Peter was saying to the teen, but I could guess. Very little had changed in the way magic was taught among my people. Perhaps if we changed our methods, the magic wouldn't be weakening, but the methods never changed, and the magic had been on the decline for the last century that I knew of. I closed my eyes, imagining Peter's voice as he had guided my childhood group. Feel the magic. Let it flow through you. I can't feel anything. Tiana patted her hands against the floor. Peter stood behind her and placed his hands on her shoulders. Can you feel that? He asked. Tiana nodded and giggled. It feels cool and smells like peppermint. My magic always responded quickly, so I didn't know what it was like to have an elder merge their magic with my own. The cool flow of healing magic always left me feeling loopy. But behind the cool presence, I could sense different flavors of magic and the white-hot magic that terrified me. An image of a unicorn rearing filled my mind, and the magic flared up suddenly. I felt like I was on fire. I screamed, "Bree, are you okay?" Peter hurried over to me. My breath came in quick gasps. Sweat balled across my forehead. I wiped it away with my sleeve and pushed down the white hot magic. "I'm fine." Peter studied me and I stared back. I knew what was coming. It was the other magic, wasn't it? I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. Peter knelt next to me, but my stomach tightened. He didn't understand. No one did. This magic was scary. Darkness came with it. They wouldn't listen. "You're special, Bree. You're the only one in our tribe with such strong magic. The rest of us have a bit of healing magic at best, but you have more. You need to give into it. Let it come forward. You are the hope of our people." "I don't want to. Healing magic is all we need." Peter sighed. "So much happened the night your parents were taken from us. The strength of your magic was triggered that night. The elders want you to let us help you. The magic that runs through our blood is weakening with each generation. You don't understand how important you are." I pounded my fist on the floor. "Stop it," I screamed. "Stop it. It's not real. None of it is real. Just healing magic. Stop it. Don't make me do anything else." My tears soaked the sides of my face. My heart pounded in the confines of my chest. Peter wrapped his arms around me. "I'm sorry. Don't make me," I pleaded, trying to catch my breath. I opened my eyes. I was about 10 in that memory. It was the last time Peter ever tried to make me use any other magic. And after that experience, the different magical flavors lessened. The white hot magic persisted a few times into my teen years whenever I saw a unicorn, but never with the same intensity. It wasn't until today, when I had seen Danny Lynn's unicorn earrings, that I had felt the intense white hot magical surge. The groups were breaking up. A few of the kids greeted me as I walked over to Peter. He was stacking chairs and Liam was helping him. "Bree, what a nice surprise." Peter gave me a hug. "How was your training session?" Peter studied me. There was always a hint of regret in his eyes, and I knew that he and the other elders would have loved if I had been willing to train the next generation. "The session was good. Just let me and Liam finish up. Do you want to go for a coffee?" "Sure, that would be great." I was busy stacking chairs when I felt a presence behind me. Liam stood with a chair in his hands. "Do you want to take these?" I pointed to the 3 I'd been working on. "No, Dr. Bree. I have a question." He looked to the side, and I got the impression that whatever was on his mind made him nervous. But I was used to teens asking questions that would make most adults uncomfortable. "Sure." "Well, I heard some of the elders speaking, and he looked around the nearly empty room. "I heard your magic's different. It's strong, and you have other abilities. Is it true?" I rocked on my feet. I hadn't been prepared for a personal question, for this kind of question. I clenched my jaw. So, the elders were still talking about me, even if they weren't talking to me about my magic. Figures. I glanced at Peter, who'd moved across the training room, but was furtively peering back at us. I held back an eye roll. Liam stacked his chair on top of my 3. "Sorry, I didn't mean to pry. It's just the weakened blood. We have to intermarry to keep our tribe going, but there's no power like we once had, and I want to travel one day." I sighed, realizing the question behind the question. "Truth is, I don't know anything about other kinds of magic," I said. "My magic acted up a bit when I was younger, and I'd feel surges that were warm or hot, but nothing more. Nothing with purpose that I could tell, and when the magic flared, it was inconsistent, so it scared me more than did anything. If we do have magic beyond healing, truthfully, I think it was just the wishful thinking of the elders. My healing magic has always been strong, so I became a doctor. But beyond that, I'm sorry. I can't help you. And if it's any consolation, the elders barely let me leave Niverville." Liam rubbed his palms on his jeans. "Is it true that your parents were killed by monsters?" "I don't know. I was there, but I was only 4, and I don't remember anything besides the car being smashed into from the side in a flash of white light. My guess is we were T-boned by another vehicle. At least, that's all I'd remember. After that, my parents had been taken from the vehicles by one or more monsters, and their bodies were never recovered. The second part was what I'd been told by the tribe, but I doubted the monster bit. It was probably violent criminals, human monsters, not fantasy monsters. Sorry I can't tell you more, Liam. Oh, all right then. He gave a nervous laugh. Thanks, and I'm sorry for asking. I know it's personal and all. It's okay. I think the elders have hope and believe that the stories of our ancestors have more truth to them than they really do. But every culture has myths of magic and power. It'd be fun if they were true, but they aren't.